Hello, boys and girls. It's so nice to see you. Today, we are going to read Owl Moon, written by Jane Yolen and illustrated by John Schoenherr. Isn't that a beautiful picture? Look at the moon. Also, this is a Caldecott Medal winner. From 1988, that means this picture book was the most beautiful book with the loveliest story in 1988. Are you ready to read it together? All right. Owl Moon by Jane Yolen, illustrated by John Schoenherr. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime, when Pa and I went owling. There was no wind. The trees stood still as giant statues. And the moon was so bright, the sky seemed to shine. Somewhere behind us, a train whistle blew, long and low, like a sad, sad song. There go Jane and Pa. I could hear it through the woolen cap Pa had pulled down over my ears. A farm dog answered the train, and then a second dog joined in. They sang out, trains and dogs, for a real long time. And when their voices faded away, it was as quiet as a dream. We walked on toward the woods, Pa and I. Pa is a nickname for Dad, for a father. Our feet crunched over the crisp snow, and little gray footprints followed us. Pa made a long shadow, but mine was short and round. I had to run after him every now and then to keep up, and my short, round shadow bumped after me. But I never called out. If you go owling, you have to be quiet. That's what Pa always says. I had been waiting to go owling with Pa for a long, long time. This is a big event. We reached the line of pine trees, black and pointy against the sky, and Pa held up his hand. I stopped right where I was and waited. He looked up as if searching the stars, as if reading a map up there. The moon made his face into a silver mask. Then he called, "Whoo! Whoo! 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 Whoo!" The sound of the great horned owl. Hoo! 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 Again he called out, and then again. After each call, he was silent, and for a moment we both listened. But There was no answer. Pa shrugged, and I shrugged. I was not disappointed. My brothers all said, sometimes there's an owl, and sometimes there isn't. We walked on. I could feel the cold, as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back. And my nose and the tops of my cheeks felt cold and hot at the same time. But I never said a word. If you go owling, you have to be quiet and make your own heat. I just love these pictures. It makes me miss my dad. When we went into the shadows were the blackest things I'd ever seen. They stained the white snow. My mouth felt furry, for the scarf over it was wet and warm. I didn't ask what kinds of things hide behind black trees in the middle of the night. When you go owling, you have to be brave. Then we came to a clearing in the dark woods. The moon was high above us. It seemed to fit exactly over the center of the clearing, and the snow below it was whiter than the milk in a cereal bowl. Now that's some kind of white, isn't it? Looks like Dad's going to make some owl calls again. I sighed, and Pa held up his hand at the sound. I put my mittens over the scarf over my mouth and listened hard. And then Pa called, "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo! Hoo, 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 hoo!" I listened and looked so hard my ears hurt, and my eyes got cloudy with the cold. Pa raised his face to call out again, but before he could open his mouth, an echo came threading its way through the trees. Whoo! 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 Is it an owl? Pa almost smiled. Then he called back, "Woo! Woo! 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 Woo!" Just as he and the owl were talking about supper, or about the woods, or the moon, or the cold. I took my mitten off the scarf, off my mouth, and I almost smiled too. The owl's call came closer from high up trees on the edge of the meadow. Nothing in the meadow moved. All of a sudden, an owl shadow, part of the big tree shadow lifted off and flew right over us. We watched silently with heat in our mouths, the heat of all those words we had not spoken. The shadow hooted again. Pa turned on his big flashlight and caught the owl just as it was landing on a branch. They can see it. For 1 minute, 3 minutes, maybe even 100 minutes, we stared at one another. Look at that beautiful owl. Wow. Then the owl pumped its great wings and lifted off the branch like a shadow without sound. It flew back into the forest. "Time to go home," Pa said to me. I knew then I could talk. I could even laugh out loud. But I was a shadow as we walked home. There goes the owl. There are Pa and Jane. When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says. The kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon. Oh, wasn't that a great story? I just loved it, didn't you? Owl moon. Did you know that there is a lot of information about owls? There are around 200 different kinds of owls. I didn't know that. Did you? Owls are active at night, they're nocturnal, and they sleep during the daytime. They eat bugs, insects, small mammals like mice and other small little furry creatures, and other birds that are smaller. They can turn their heads about 270 degrees. Me, I'm old, but I can turn my head about 90 degrees this way, right? What about you? How far can you turn your head? Try. Right? Okay? So an owl doesn't just go like this. An owl's head can go all the way around like that. 3/4 of a circle. Isn't that amazing? Owls see things far away better than they see things up close. And like the story told us, they're very quiet when they fly. Also, like many animals, the color of their feathers helps them hide. It's called camouflage, and it keeps them safe from other creatures that want to harm them because they can't see them for the camouflage. Wasn't this a lovely story, boys and girls? Owl Moon. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye-bye.